So with me in the European Parliament today is Diogo Feio, the Portuguese People's Party member and Rapporteur on the Payment Services Directive update, which is currently going through the Parliament. Mr. Feio, thank you for joining us here today. Could you tell us perhaps a little bit about at what stage your amendments to the Payment Services Directive dossier are at?
Thank you. Now I present the draft report and is the time to the discussion with other colleagues, with the shadows, and we'll have a discussion of this draft report in the committee in December, and after that is the time to amendments until January.
And could you just perhaps talk us through some of the key changes that the committee and you have decided to make to try and make to the Commission's original proposals?
Yes, we are now talking in the European Parliament, and now thousands of Europeans are doing transactions and are paying services. And this is very important to understand. This is a directive, a rule to the day by day of the Europeans. It's a very technical directive, and I think we need to simplify the language to be understandable by all the people. Is the first thing that I want to underline. But I think the change that I did are change in the direction of more competition, of more transparency, better information to all the consumers, and with the idea of a new governance of the payment services.
Let's take one of those issues, transparency. How would you like to tighten up on the transparency measures proposed?
First of all, I want a more simplified language in the directive. Doing this, all the people can understand the rules that are applied. Second, I support the idea of a charter to the consumer with the information that the consumer needs with a transparent method, and I think this will be a great step to a better payment service in Europe.
You talked about competition briefly there. This is clearly becoming a very crowded market. How do you see this proposal increasing competition, increasing innovation in payment services?
I think that is important to understand that the competition is now due. We have the competition in the markets. We should improve the competition in the rules. But it's important to understand that we have now new methods of payment, and we need to have a directive who understands and who receive these new methods of payments. And we have 28 different markets, and I think we should harmonize what is possible in these markets. I think that is possible to have better competition, understanding the new methods of payment.
And the SEPA, the big European payments area, I mean, already that is falling down behind its schedule. There were big deadlines next year for the introduction of harmonized card payment methods, which have already slipped. Are you confident that the SEPA measures introduced by this updated directive can push SEPA further?
Yes, I believe in that. And I have a thing that I want to underline in my proposal is a new scheme of governance of the payment service, and I do a link with the SEPA model, and I think this is possible and this is important to the future. I understand and I think that is very, very important to do a link between this directive and the SEPA.
Now, in some of the innovative areas on payments, like mobile payments, there are complications with creating standards and so on. How confident are you that this directive can cover future innovations in payments, that when new innovations happen, they will be covered by these rules?
Yes, this is a general problem of the rules, because when we have innovations, is very difficult to have in the second after a new rule. But I think with this directive we have a general good schema to accompany the innovation, and in a very important issue, the safety of the consumers and the safety of the transactions. And I put some amendments in this line.
Right. Now, your aim is to have this heard on the 16th of December, I think, in committee. How much reaction to the amendments you've had are you anticipating? Is this a paper on which there's a lot of interest, and how hard is it, do you think, for you going to be to get this through the committee?
I think I'll have hard work in the next months, because I knew my colleagues. They are very active members of this Parliament, and I expect to have lots of amendments. But it is good to do the final agreements. With a good participation, we'll have naturally a good final decision about this directive.
And of course, it's not the only paper going through. There is another paper on interchange fees, perhaps a little bit more controversial, which your colleague Zalba Bidegain is the rapporteur for. His aim, I think, is to try and get his paper through on the 16th of December as well. Are you liaising with him, and are you trying to get these two papers passed at the same time? And how possible would that be?
Yes, I understand that the MiFIS regulation is very controversial, but we are working the two as a package, because we think we need a general rule to these transactions. And I expect to the PSD2 to have a final good result. We are linked, for example, in the concepts. We are using the same concepts in the two pieces of legislation, and I think is a very tricky issue, the issue of the MiFIS, but I think it's possible to have an agreement and to have a general solution to the MiF and to the PSD2.
And here we are before Christmas. The Christmas lights are already up. The 16th of December is going to be the last big chance for the Econ committee to do pass lots of different pieces of legislation. Is there a danger that this and other pieces will slip through to the next year, by which time you and your colleagues might already be considering how best to get yourself re-elected?
Let's wait. In this work, we need to work with the Council, and I expect to have a good result until April. Let's work, let's do our better work, and I'm confident to have a good result.
And if there's no agreement in December, is that a problem, or can that be dealt with in January?
No, the question is that until the beginning of January is the time to present the amendments about the report. After that, I need to do the agreements, and Pablo also, and we're going after to the vote in the committee and in the plenary. And we are now waiting for the work of the Council.
Okay, Mr. Feio, thank you very much.